When you think of the ultimate family vehicle, it's pretty hard to beat the practicality of a minivan. Even though consumers are obsessed with SUVs, minivans just give you way more interior space when it comes to carrying people and their stuff. Now, Kia has been playing in this space since 2001 with the original Sedona, and back in 2022, it became the Carnival when the all-new 4th generation came out. So for 2025, Kia is giving the Carnival its first full refresh. And as you can see by the design, it's a pretty significant one. It adopts the same front fascia from the EV9 full electric SUV, and underneath the hood, Kia is introducing the first ever Carnival hybrid, which essentially replaces the V6 with a turbocharged 4-cylinder and a powerful electric motor, giving you up to 33 mpg. So to drive this all-new Carnival, Kia has flown me out to beautiful and sunny San Diego, California to drive this SX Prestige version. And the big question I want to answer, for those of you who need the ultimate family vehicle and you're also seeking better fuel efficiency, how does the brand new Kia Carnival hybrid stack up? Stay tuned to find out. Now, before we start talking about the brand new exterior styling for the Carnival, let me go ahead and pop the hood and show you guys what's powering this thing, because as I mentioned, this is the first time Kia is offering a hybrid version of the Carnival, and this powertrain is essentially the same powertrain that we see in other Hyundai and Kia products, but the company did up the power figure to make this the most powerful version of their 1.6-liter hybrid powertrain. Now, as you can see underneath the hood, it combines a unique powertrain. It's a 1.6-liter gasoline direct injection turbocharged 4-cylinders. That's right, it's a turbo 4-cylinder, comparing that, of course, to the naturally aspirated engine in like the Toyota Sienna hybrid and the Chrysler Pacifica plug-in hybrid. It is paired with a 54-kilowatt electric motor that's kind of sandwiched in between the engine and the 6-speed automatic transmission. This electric motor has been beefed up to deliver basically 74 horsepower on its own. The gas engine delivers around 178 horsepower on its own with 195 foot-pounds of torque. The electric motor delivers around 224 pound-feet of torque. Kia basically says the combined output here is 242 horsepower and 271 pound-feet of torque. That gives up around 45 horsepower compared to the gas V6, but it also has more torque, around 11 more foot-pounds of torque. Kia also says this is the most torque-rich engine that you're going to find in its class. However, Toyota technically doesn't rate the torque figure on the Sienna or the Chrysler Pacifica plug-in hybrid. What's unique about this powertrain is it uses a 6-speed automatic transmission as opposed to an eCVT like you'd find in the Toyota Sienna. And fuel economy, Kia says you get around, or the EPA says you get around 34 in the city, 31 on the highway, 33 combined. So that's a 12 mpg improvement versus the gas-only version. As you can see, the engine also just turned on. It will run on electric power alone because it has a pretty small, like 1 kilowatt-hour battery pack that it basically draws power from, that the gas engine will recharge when you're driving this vehicle, and through the regenerative brakes, of course. Now, this has a 19-gallon fuel tank, so it's a fairly large fuel tank. Kia says you can actually go over 600 miles of range on a full tank, which would make it among the best in the class. The sad thing about the Carnival hybrid is this only comes with front-wheel drive, and that's because there is no space for a rear drive shaft, because Kia's hybrid system uses a physical connection between the gas engine and the electric motor, and the rear axle, I'm sorry, which is where Toyota is different because they use a separate E-axle, which is a little bit more space efficient, of course. 0 to 60 times, Kia doesn't quote that. This vehicle should have a top speed of around 111 miles an hour. Towing capacity is reduced on the hybrid to 2,500 pounds versus 3,500 pounds. And as this model sits, this is the SX Prestige version. It weighs in at just over 4,800 pounds. It's around 100 to 200 pounds heavier versus the non-hybrid version of the Carnival. But let's go ahead and close up the hood here, which, as you heard, the engine decided to shut itself off. Let's go ahead and talk about the exterior styling. Now, this particular one that I'm showing you is painted in ceramic silver exterior. This is a $500 extra charge for the color. And as you can see, the SX Prestige version that I'm showing you is the top of the line model. It actually comes with like a dark appearance package, which looks really good with the ceramic silver with the metallic accents. You can see the headlights have the new corporate look from the EV9, where you have the amber illuminated daytime running light and turn signal. These are the upgraded projector style 4-cube individual LEDs, where you have LED low and high beams. The new Tiger Nose grille is also enlarged, which looks good with the blacked out Kia logo and the black accents in the grille. That's included on the SX Prestige, optional on the SX. You also have these cute rectangular LED fog lights at the lower fascia, along with this kind of front end that resembles a skid plate. You have their Drive Wise package, which is standard with adaptive cruise, lane keep assist, traffic jam assist, along with integrated parking sensors, 360 camera included on this trim. And overall, it certainly looks distinctive. I mean, I personally really like the way the Carnival looks looked when it first came out. I think Kia has definitely improved the look for 2024. However, keep in mind, the SX Prestige is the only one that gives you those upgraded premium style LEDs. So the lower trims will have a slightly different look to the front fascia. Now, moving around the side profile, you can see this is a minivan in its profile, though Kia tries to make it look a little bit more like a crossover. It offers around 6.8 inches of ground clearance at 203 inches in the overall length with a 121.7-inch wheelbase. This is definitely among the longest that you're going to find in the segment. Looking at the wheels, these are the unique gloss black wheels that you get with the SX Prestige. They're a 19-inch wheel riding on a 235 by 55 R19 Continental cross contact tire. You have an independent suspension front and rear, although Kia does say that they have a unique e-hybrid suspension and steering setup for this vehicle, along with brakes because of the regen braking, to give it a unique handling feel versus the gas version, which we'll talk about later on the road. You can see that black theme continues here with the dark painted accents for the mirrors. They're power folding with integrated turn signals, 4 cameras around. I also like how the A-pillar there is blacked out. The SX Prestige also comes with a dual panel sunroof that actually opens up over the front and over the rear to vent air. That's a unique feature. Looks good with the roof rails. And then looking at the rest of the side profile, you can see there's this interesting kind of diamond texture here on this C-pillar, I believe, but Kia doesn't try to hide the rear sliding tracks for the doors. As you can see, it's instantly recognizable as a minivan. However, I will say that the Kia Carnival, to me, is definitely the best looking van in this segment. I really like the way this vehicle looks with the updated taillights. This SX Prestige model is the only trim to give you the full LED taillights. You can see the turn signal and brake lights are LED. You have an LED signature, a new light signature that kind of creates a full light bar effect, although it kind of stops right there in the middle where the new Kia badge is. There's a new blacked out Kia Carnival badge over there, along with this HEV badge, which stands for hybrid electric vehicle. The rear bumper design has kind of like an integrated skid pad look. No visible exhaust tips, but integrated parking sensors. And then if you're looking for your rear window wiper, Kia cleverly tucks it underneath the rear spoiler, along with the digital camera rearview mirror, which is standard on the SX Prestige version. Looking at the cargo area, you can see the Kia Carnival offers, Kia basically says best in class space. With the third row seats up, you can see you get a little over 40 cubic feet of space. That's definitely a lot more versus what you're gonna find in any SUV. There's also a little bit of storage here with 2 different levels of storage. There's a really deep storage area here. And if you wanna fold down these seats, Kia also makes that really easy. You basically just kind of pull that little lever, push that seat down. It also kind of clicks into place. There's a little flap that folds out. Kia actually doesn't talk about the cargo figures when you have the second row or the third row seat folded down. I would estimate it's around 75 to 80 cubic feet of space. But however, if you want to take out the second row, this is where the Chrysler Pacifica offers an advantage. You do have the ability to have that stow and go in the Chrysler. In the Kia, you have to take it out. If you get the lounge seating package, which is optional on this trim here, the seats are actually fixed into position. If you remove all the seats, Kia basically says you get a maximum of 145 cubic feet of space, which again is one of the reasons why minivans are so popular with consumers, because you can actually carry a lot of people or a lot of stuff or both, which you typically can't do with an SUV unless you get something like a Chevy Suburban. So moving on to the interior of the new 2025 Kia Carnival Hybrid. Let me first show you guys the key fob. You can see this is their new detonator style key with your usual buttons here for lock, unlock, a remote open for the liftgate, and then panic. There's also buttons here to open and close the sliding doors and access the remote start. I also like the way the key fob looks. It feels really good in your hands. It's a nice quality. But as I open the door of the vehicle, you can see my particular test car has a really interesting color combination with the ceramic silver. You also have this kind of navy and gray full leather interior. These seats are also heated and ventilated. They adjust in 12 different ways for the driver's side, and you also get 2-person memory. The SX Prestige is the only trim to give you the full actual real leather seats. The other trims will have the fake leather, which Kia calls Syntex, with this navy blue interior with the gray. It's certainly a really nice classy combination. I also like the way the door panel looks here. This is a soft touch injection molded plastic. This is a non-glossy gray plastic with some aluminum look for the door handles, nice and padded here. Window controls are one touch for all 4, which is nice. And then you also have the 12-speaker Bose stereo. This is the only trim to come with the upgraded audio. Down here you can see there's some nice storage. In that area there is a hard touch plastic material. But let's go ahead and hop inside. The interior, you can see with around 7 inches of ground clearance, this vehicle has a really easy step-in height. As I shut the door also has a nice solid sounding thunk. And then when you want to turn the vehicle on, the start-stop button is down here. And because this is a hybrid, as you can see, there is no traditional starter noise. Instead, the chime just comes on and it will say ready. In the instrument panel, it says ready to drive. That's how you know the vehicle is, again, ready to be driven. So I really appreciate the fact that it doesn't have a traditional starter noise. it goes with the whole, efficiency thing as this being a hybrid. You can see with the SX Prestige, you also get an 11-inch heads-up display, which is nice. And then all Carnivals come with this new CNCC connected services infotainment system. So this is Kia's latest software that we first saw in the Kia EV9, of course. This 12.3-inch display is standard. However, if you want the 12.3-inch fully digital cluster where it's kind of like this big panoramic piece of glass, you have to go for the SX trims and up. The lower trims will have a digital and analog cluster, where in the center you'll have a small 4.2-inch display. This definitely looks a lot more modern, a lot more sophisticated, a lot more upscale. I also like the dashboard materials where you have a soft touch injection molded plastic with this faux stitching. There's some more of that gray painted plastic that's non-glass glossy on the actual door panels, or I'm sorry, on the dashboard as well. The continuous looking dash vents are nice. I appreciate how they're actually a traditional dash vent as well. Down here you can see there's hard touch materials, but I like the two-tone blue and gray look, which is nice. The steering wheel looks pretty much the same, although the hybrid does add these paddle shifters where you can control the regen braking to basically increase or decrease the regen braking. You have a manual tilt and telescoping adjustment, which offers a good amount of adjustability and range with the Kia logo, the piano black plastic trim over here. The controls for the window or for the headlight and the wiper stalks feel very traditional, which I like. What I don't like, however, is Kia adopting this kind of dual purpose layout for the center stack. So if I push that, you can see it goes to the audio stuff. And if I push that, it goes to the climate. It even changes the function of the dual knobs here. So that's something you have to get used to. But once you get used to it, it's perfectly fine. You have 2 USB charging ports. There's a total of 6, I believe, in this vehicle. And then you have a nice wireless phone charging pad here with this kind of raised portion, which is good for keeping your phone from overheating. This area here, however, is not a wireless charger. I kind of wish Kia had just given you 2 wireless chargers. And this really right here is the only change versus the gas version of this car. Instead of the traditional shifter, you have this rotary dial that looks like it was pulled out of a Genesis vehicle. You rotate it to the left, that gives you your full 360 camera, puts it into reverse as well. You can also do a full 360 perimeter scan, which the graphics and resolution are definitely among the best in the industry. Twist it to the right, that puts into drive. Push the P button to go into park, of course. Your drive mode selector is here. Kia offers a choice between either 3. There's a smart, which is adaptive, eco, and then a sport mode. Most of you will probably just drive it in either smart or eco. We'll try out the drive modes later on. You can see your heated and cooled seat controls are right here, which is definitely a really nice touch. And then you have your buttons here for your heated steering wheel. I also like the metallic for the button here. However, what I don't like is the piano black plastic here. That's going to look really bad. There's some large capacity cup holders here, which Kia actually says could easily fit some of the large, water flasks that people tend to use. And then over here, this also includes wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. My phone is not connected at the moment, but I think what a lot of people are going to end up using is that passenger view there, which actually gives you a cool little camera in the ceiling of the rear that allows you to kind of look at the kiddos. You can also zoom in to see, if somebody has something in their mouth, for example. But this system here is definitely a huge upgrade. It also includes wireless over-the-air updates. It also has GPS built in to the vehicle, although most of you will probably just end up using the CarPlay anyways. The embedded systems, I think a lot of people are kind of going out of. But overall, that system is still really nice to use. There's also good storage over here as well. From this area here to the small little storage area here, there's a nice padded center console. Open this up, you can see it's pretty deep. The area here is also not lit up, and there's no plugs or anything. It's all going to be located here along with the actual 12 volt right here. There's some nice little buttons here where you can adjust the front seat, which I love. These seats, by the way, are pretty comfortable and supportive. The heat and ventilation function also works really well. And again, this is the only trim that comes with real leather. If I open up the glove box there, you can see it's damped and it's lined with felt. It's a bin style. It offers a good amount of storage, as you can see. And then over here, you can see this is the only trim to come with the digital camera rearview mirror, which I love. Or if you don't like that, you can also just go to a standard mirror, but that also really opens it up to allow you to load the vehicle up to the ceiling and still be able to see. But overall, as you can see, the interior of this vehicle is certainly very modern, the most modern feeling in the segment, and it doesn't have the biggest screen. The new Toyota Sienna is now offered with a 12.3-inch display, so I'll have to wait until I can get a hold of those and show you guys what that interior is like. But let's go ahead and hop into the second and the third row of this vehicle. As you can see, the power sliding doors are definitely a nice touch, and my tester here is the 8-passenger model, which means you basically have this center seat here that can slide forward and back. You can also remove that and kind of create captain's chairs. For no charge, Kia will sell you the VIP lounge seats, which include heated and cooled seats in the second row. and they also give you the ability to recline. However, this to me is probably the more flexible option, so I kind of would probably end up going with this. As you can see, once I get back here, closing the door, Kia says you have around 40.5 inches of legroom, which is definitely among the best you're going to find in the segment. You can kind of slide this seat forward and back, which is also a nice touch. You have these retractable sunshades. Material quality back here is hard touch, which is kind of good. This is where you're going to have kids. They're going to make a mess and probably scuff things up if they put too nice of materials. You have cup holders back here, an actual 12-volt traditional power outlet, of course. And then down here, there's a little bit more storage, but some competitors offer like a slide out tray, so that's something to keep in mind. You do have 2 storage cubbies here. You have USB charging ports on the side over here, and then you can see what I love about this car is the fact that Kia basically gives you the ability to open and close this sunshade and also open and close that sunroof, which, by the way, if the child seats are locked, or the window controls are locked like it is right now, I unlocked it, it should allow me to basically, as you can see, open this up to vent air. This is, I feel like, the only van in the segment that actually allows you to do this, and you can actually open it up a pretty large amount over the heads of the second passenger seats, or second passenger people back here. But overall, as you can see, this is a really nice place to spend time. And I also love the fact that there's plenty of space. Now, let's go and hop into the third row really quick so I can show you guys what that's like. Now, as you can see over here, you basically pull on this little lever. This will allow the seat to kind of catapult out of the way. And once you get back here, Kia basically says you get around 36.5 inches of legroom. Now, that legroom figure can obviously be manipulated by moving the second row seats forward and back. This is with the seat all the way back. You can see for somebody my height at 5'7", there's plenty of space back here to kind of get comfortable. The seats back here are also covered in the same kind of leather. They're not heated, however, nor is the second row heated. You have to get the VIP lounge seats to get that. You do have USB charging ports here. It's hard touch plastic along with the rear window sunshades. Your climate control vents are located on the ceiling here. You have LED map lighting. And then in terms of the headroom space, you can see at 5'7", my head comes pretty close to the roof. So obviously minivans do give you the ability to carry adults back here, but I feel like some competitors offer a slightly more space, headroom space perhaps in the third row, but again, you can adjust the second row legroom by moving the seat forward and back. But overall, this is definitely a really nice place to spend time. The one thing I also forgot to mention is there's the camera right there for looking at that kind of interior camera. You can also push this button here and you can literally give it voice commands from back here, which, as you can see, the screen responds when I do that. You can't turn that feature on and off, so I imagine some kids might be messing with the parents a few times. But overall, as you can see, the technology and the space in this car are pretty much among the best in the class. So what better way to test out Kia's party van than to have a party in the van? As you can see, I'm joined by Alex and Tommy from TFL and from Alex on Autos. I want to test out the
Auto Buyer's Guide.
Yes,
Auto Buyer's
Guide.
Guide.
From Auto Buyer's Guide. Let's test out the 0 to 60 really quick here. We're in sport.
Feel the power. Wow. It's mind warping. My seat's going so far back.
Well, we got 0 to 60 in 9.95 seconds. Now that is with it more going slightly uphill, and I will plan to do this test again when I don't have 2 extra people in the van with me.
Hey, how heavy do you think we are?
Oh, we're easily 120 pounds. So
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Easily.
Slowing, you literally
Yes.
added 3 seconds to the 0 to 60 time, I'm sure. So Kia doesn't like to talk about what the 0 to 60 time is. I actually was able to get 8.9 in the V6 earlier this month when we were out in Seattle, or no, Washington State. But
Sounds reasonable. I mean, you don't want to make your kids car sick.
no, and that's a good point. And if you are talking about hybrid powertrains, the Toyota Sienna, as you guys know, is not fast.
No, it is definitely a slug. And I live where I go up and over a 2,200 foot mountain pass every day. And Tommy, you're of course in Colorado, so we both have experience in the Sienna, like where that battery is dead, and all you've got is that naturally aspirated Atkinson cycle engine. It's not speedy.
Screaming,
Yeah.
screaming over the hills. But you can get that Sienna with all-wheel drive.
Yes. Even though the Sienna all-wheel drive doesn't add any more power, it adds the extra traction. And here we are, we're pretty much at 900 feet above sea level, according to my watch. But this car has an interesting powertrain, guys, because it's turbocharged and it's electrified and it has a 6-speed auto. Yeah. I actually kind of think this car would be even more efficient and quicker with a CVT, but Kia likes to talk about the fact that it doesn't have the CVT droning and it's much more of a driver's car. In these kind of roads, I mean,
it's a driver's multi-purpose van.
The engine, I will say, is relatively smooth. Even though you have to push the engine hard at times, there's no vibration that I'm feeling back through the shift or through the pedals, through the steering wheel. And it's also not quite as noisy as the Sienna, although I need to drive it back to back to kind of confirm.
Yeah, the Sienna's kind of gruff. That engine, when it's really revving up a lot, especially uphill,
Yeah.
It's, you can really hear it, and it's just the whole time.
Yeah, it's not pleasant, although I definitely noticed that the Sienna's drivetrain seems more refined in between, or when you talk about the transition between electric and gas. I mean, when this has a 6-speed auto, it has to shift gears. The handoff, I think, sorry Tommy, you're probably getting thrown around here as I go around some corners in this van.
Yeah, Dad, can you just slow it down here? Tommy's gonna barf.
Yeah, we don't need the kiddo in the back getting car sick, obviously.
Tommy barfed on me last week.
Now, I do want to talk about the handling because Kia was talking about, what did they call it, guys? It was like e-handling and e-steering adjustments with the electric motor part.
So they're kind of using the electric motor to help smooth things out, help smooth out the tip and dive in the car a little bit because the motor can react quickly.
I don't know if I feel it, in this brief first drive. I would need to drive the gas model back to back to really kind of get a feel for that. But
it's going to be really subtle if it,
That's what I was thinking. It's like when Mazda talks about their G vectoring control. It's like, do you even feel that in real world driving? I will say that this van drives pretty nice. I mean, it's nearly 5,000 pounds. The steering is relatively quick, even though it's numb. The suspension stays pretty flat, and the ride quality is also not bad, guys. What do you think of the ride?
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? No, the ride quality I think is pretty good. Obviously it has to have the payload capacity for 8 passengers in the back,
right?
But it doesn't feel as firmly sprung as a full-size SUV. So if you're looking for just something that carries a family, a lot of people I know recently have gone to Suburbans. Actually, a friend of mine that I thought would be the last person on earth to get a Suburban or a Tahoe got a Suburban, and the ride quality is not as good. The third row room is not as good. The cargo area is barely bigger in only limited areas.
Right.
Behind the third row, this is even better, I think, as far as practicality goes. And this is significantly more fuel efficient.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you basically have to get a Suburban to get this kind of space with a minivan that you get in a much smaller package vehicle. And then plus, this is just way easier to drive.
Are you team Suburban, Tommy?
Listen, I am team minivan all the way. These are the best road trip vehicles on the planet. If you need to drive 1,000 miles in one day, any minivan is just gonna be awesome. And this minivan now has some improved ADAS functionality. Alex, want to talk about the new Drive Pilot 2 system?
Ooh, Drive Pilot 2. To be perfectly honest, I don't know if it matters that much to me. I don't like aggressive lane centering unless it's going to be hands-free. So if it was Super Cruise, I would be all on board. But, HDA 2, it doesn't matter to me whether this helps you lane change or not, or lane centers or not, because especially on this kind of road, I would turn it off. Because it's just gonna annoy me more.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we can't really test it out on these curvy roads. What I do notice, however, is it feels a little bit smaller than its weight would suggest, at least to me. The last Sienna I drove just felt really cumbersome and really soft. This feels a little bit sportier. The Odyssey is probably still the sportiest driving minivan, if that really matters to you, although I think people in the segment don't really care. I won't be able to...
We're talking like really, really small differences.
Yes. And obviously, sadly, we won't be able to talk about real-world fuel economy right now because we've been driving it on these curvy roads. And
1,000 miles an hour.
Well, it's averaging only 20 mpg. Although, Alex, when we drove out to our filming spot earlier, it was showing like 29 mpg.
Yeah, 29 and a half.
Yeah.
Which honestly isn't bad. So I'll have to wait until I get one back home to test out for a full week. But I gotta say, guys, these curvy roads.
Let's look straight so none of us barf. We gotta look at the camera.
Guys, I apologize if any of you get a little bit of car sick.
That's okay. We're just gonna projectile vomit on you. It's fine. It's fine.
To get car sick. Meanwhile, let's see how
this handles. It's in our last testing, because not that long ago, we actually had all 4 minivans in for review at the same time, same week.
Which one pulled the most G's, Alex?
Oddly, Odyssey actually, in the group that we ran through the minivans, nobody really thought that the Odyssey outhandled the others in any appreciable fashion. They felt that the steering feel was better and the connection was a little bit better, but like shades of gray.
Okay.
What I thought was interesting, though, is that in our caravan style testing, where we had like all 4 minivans driving on the same route, same road surfaces, etc., Pacifica actually outperformed Sienna in fuel economy by a few mpg, and that was in the level land. It was like 1 mile per gallon better, so real close.
Right.
But in hilly areas, Pacifica really out-indexed. It was about 4 or 5 miles per gallon better than Sienna, mainly because that big plug-in hybrid battery pack could just regenerate power all the way down the hill.
Is Is this the only turbocharged minivan for sale on the market in the US?
It is.
It is.
It is
Wow.
actually. So there's another unique, selling factor of this engine. If you want a minivan,
Colorado.
Because I've
Colorado.
seen people stick like turbo badges on their minivan, and I'm just like, you know what? Let's see if I have
Ooh la
enough-
la.
let's see if we have enough
We're going to
space
try
here.
and hit 60 before we hit the palm trees. Pray for us, everybody. Pray for us.
If we can't make it, it's fine.
Sweet baby Jesus, what's happening? What's happening?
No,
We're never gonna make it.
We're not gonna make it. I was just trying to see if I could make it, but that's okay.
I will say, Alex, this minivan does have a really positive feel when you're accelerating because there's
Yeah.
no kind of drone of an eCVT or a conventional CVT.
Yeah.
So it does feel a lot more SUV-like in that way too.
And I will be all kinds of serious now. Gotta rein it back in. But if you are that kind of person that doesn't like the way Toyota's hybrid drive system feels or Honda's hybrid system feels, the Hyundai and Kia systems have a completely different feel because of that traditional 6-speed. So they're going to have that defined gear change, that very traditional feel to them. The electric motor adds a lot of torque. So not only do you have the turbo with a lot of torque, you have the electric motor that adds extra torque. So if you are that person that just really dislikes that feel, then this is going to be a good option. And there are going to be pros and cons to either of them, but that's the one definite pro on this side is that traditional feel.
Right.
Whether you like it or not, though, that's up to you.
Perfect. I think that should be good.
Sweet.
Yeah. Sadly, this car could not reach 60 in that. I knew it couldn't, but I just wanted to show that you can't reach 60 in such a short.
Diving toward the palm trees.
You guys were worried that I was going to actually keep going. I was like, no, I'm not that stupid. So even though minivans continue to have that soccer mom stigma, sales figures have actually been increasing, so the demand is actually still there. In fact, if you look at the minivan segment as a whole here in America, there's the Chrysler Pacifica, the Honda Odyssey, the Toyota Sienna, and of course the Kia Carnival. The Kia Carnival is the lowest selling model by volume. Kia still managed to sell around 43,000 units in the States last year. Their sales have been growing significantly. In fact, they were up over 50% versus the same time in 2022. Kia says as of now, this year in 2024, sales are also up 6%. And with the addition of this Kia Carnival hybrid, I have to say Kia is going to continue to kind of take a bigger chunk out of that minivan sales pie. Because as you guys know, the Toyota Sienna hybrid is probably the biggest rival that Kia is targeting, because the hybrid version of the Sienna has always been in really high demand, although sales figures for Toyota's Sienna have also been down, although Toyota likes to claim that it's because of a lack of parts and they can't keep up with the demand. Honestly, after driving the all-new Kia Carnival hybrid, everything that I like about the gas-powered version is still pretty much here. This 1.6-liter turbocharged powertrain with that powerful electric motor actually delivers solid performance. The 6-speed automatic will certainly appeal to those of you who prefer a more traditional shifting experience from the transmission. The turbocharged engine also makes some okay sounds. There are times where I noticed it was a little bit noisy when you're trying to drive it up some steeper hills. I'll have to wait until I get one back home to do a proper 0 to 60 test, where I can actually get the vehicle for a full week and test it on our usual battery of roads. Although I do say that when I tested the V6 earlier this month out in Oregon or Washington State, it did it in around 9 seconds. So I imagine this model should be pretty similar. Kia, again, doesn't like to talk about the 0 to 60 times, but I was surprised, even though this is down 45 horsepower, it feels pretty much as peppy as the V6, and that's because it does have more torque, and that torque is delivered at a much lower RPM and instantaneously because of the hybrid powertrain. Fuel economy, I'll have to wait until I get one back home to test, but a 12 mpg improvement is significant. And really, if you guys are trying to compare the gas to the V6 price-wise, that increase in efficiency should pay for itself in the period that you're actually going to own this vehicle, especially if you want to take a lot of longer road trips, because with its big 19-gallon fuel tank, you can easily do over 500 to 550 miles of range, should be in the real world. And in terms of pricing, Kia has also priced the Carnival very affordably, at least for the segment, because if you want to get into a base version of this van, which is the LX, it starts at $36,500. That undercuts most of its rivals by about $3,000 to $4,000 in terms of base pricing. The hybrid's going to start around $4,000 higher at $40,500. However, the actual price difference is only $2,000 because Kia doesn't offer a base LX with the hybrid. It starts at LXS, goes all the way up to the SX Prestige, like I'm showing you here. Now, of course, with all the bells and whistles like this SX Prestige, hybrid powertrain, Really the only option my test car is missing is the VIP package, which is actually a no charge option on Kia's website, and $2,500 for the rear seat entertainment package with destination and this $500 upcharge for the paint. You're looking at an as tested price of $54,490. So again, a pretty decent chunk of money for a minivan. However, if you look at a fully loaded version of the new Toyota Sienna hybrid, for example, that can top out at around 57,000 grand. Same thing with the Chrysler Pacifica plug-in hybrid, that can go to over or nearly $60,000. The Honda Odyssey is kind of the value leader as well. However, Honda just recently upped the price of the Odyssey, starting at around 41 grand for the EXL, because that's now the base trim. I think Kia has definitely priced the vehicle well, and it should continue to do well in the marketplace. So I'll be curious to see how sales figures are going to take off, especially with the addition of the hybrid variant. But with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the brand new 2025 Kia Carnival Hybrid. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.